Mr. Capaldi, it is a pleasure to speak with you. Congratulations on being
Hi.
part of the Suicide Squad.
Thank you. Thank you.
Listen, the Thinker is a
Call me,
character.
call me Peter.
Oh,
Yeah.
we just became best friends. It's an honor. Peter, the Thinker is a character involved in so many DC Comics stories, and I'd love to hear from you how James pitched the character to you, or were you already familiar with? Like, what was your introduction to the Thinker?
My introduction was the script. I just read the script, and James asked me to do it and sent me the script, and I thought the script was great. And that's really where I took it from. I dug into some of the comics, which is a sort of archaeological dig to have a look at his various incarnations. It was quite difficult to pin down exactly who he was because he changes so much. And also he seems to be quite old, and then he disappears, and then he comes back again. And I thought it was quite confusing. I thought I'd be better just to cleave to the script, stick with the script and try and conjure up that Thinker as opposed to making a connection with the comics. But I did. There was that lovely, there is the first thing, when you go on the internet and call him up, you get that little drawing of him in the orange jumpsuit, which is kind of iconic for him and did, I think, influence James and our Thinker. But I just tried to do what the script tells me to do. It's quite tricky. I mean, James is brilliant, I think, but it's a very heightened sort of world that you have to try and exist in and be funny and scary at the same time.
Yeah, and the comics continuity, it's a lot to keep up with. It's a lot to learn from the comics.
Yeah.
It can get a little crowded. I saw you, I know you guys are really close. It seems like everybody became really close friends in this film. I saw you drew a comic cover of Count Crawley for David Dasmalchian's comic.
Oh, yeah.
I would love to hear about that because I didn't know you had the skills to draw comic covers, man. What went into that? That's awesome.
No, well, it was because David. I love his performance in this movie. Polka Dot Man is my favorite character because he's this lame superhero, and David is such a brilliant actor, and he plays it with this kind of sad face, which I love. This really lame superhero. So we became great friends. And but he has this comic, Count Crawley, which he's created himself, and he writes. And it was just coming out as we were doing the movie, and it was so great because he kind of sells it, and if you go past his trailer, he's got Count Crawley posters. And basically, if you went to his trailer, I think he'd have a stack of comics, and he would sell you them if you want.
The hustle.
But I just. Yeah, well, but in the nicest possible way.
Yes,
And I thought Count Crawley was a great character, and I loved that whole kind of because we don't have it in the UK. We have the late night horror movie hosts and stuff. So I just wanted to do a little because David had been so kind to me and so welcoming. I just wanted to do a little gift for him, which was a mock cover of the Thinker meets Count Crawley.
It looked awesome. It was really cool to see that.
Oh, thank you. Well, I went to art school originally, so that was my original training was in art. So I can still draw a bit. Yeah,
we used it well. My last thing for you, this comes from a fan on my Instagram, DC TV Center. I want to give them credit for this question. If you had to cast one of your Suicide Squad co-stars as a Doctor who would you put in the role as one of the next Doctors?
I would put David. I think David has a otherworldly sort of character, and he has also a kind of age. There's a sense about him that he may have lived before in a different way. He's a little troubled, and I think that's very. And he also looks great in velvet.
I love it, Peter. It's an honor to speak with you. Huge fan, and congrats.
Thanks, Fred.